Friday the 12th of August 2022. In this Skidmark, I'm not really going to talk about news. I'm just going to talk about some practical realities that happened in my life. And I thought I would like to share it with you. I've had a few requests about it. And if you like what you see, tell me in the comments. But I just felt that I wanted to share this with you. Now, fortunately in South Africa we were a little bit behind the rest of the world. So initially those of us that was awake had information from other countries before the blankets were being drawn over things and the curtains were drawn and things like that. And I'm a guy, I'm 70 years old and I'm a fairly healthy guy. Right through my life, I don't really get sick. Yes, I got some of the subtropical diseases that is in our country, and I especially had a rough time in the 80s and the 90s with tick bite fever. I'm going to tell you what happened to me personally. And okay, so I watched the things happening overseas and the videos of the people falling down and all the horror stories that came out with it. But somewhere in the back of my mind, there was things that were not making sense to me. I told my wife flat out that there's no way that I'm going to take the snake poison, and I'm going to take my chances because I don't trust the things that I read and the things that I hear, and I am not comfortable with the potential of getting my building blocks reprogrammed. I'm not comfortable with that. Made a decision that the most important thing that I can do is to make sure that my internal defenses is as sharp as possible, and I cannot use that word, the correct word, and you know why. I had a keen interest in the benefits of eating healthy, and I also have quite a big following on Facebook, on my food page there. It's called Mankos, which you translate it, it's dude food, and I've got a blog about that. And yes, I'm a keen home cook. I'm not a chef, I'm a cook. And so I started off by focusing on our diet. And if you look at this picture, you will see that is brinjals that is being fried with crumbs. And I fry all my stuff in pork lard. I don't use oil for these types of frying. And that brinjals formed the basis of this dish. And I had some leftovers from a barbecue that I chopped up in small cubes and made a sauce for it, and that was then placed over the brinjals. And then there's a salad, which is a raw salad of carrots and apples and pears and pomegranate, and that is the meal. Now, that is a healthy meal as far as I'm concerned, and it is a hearty meal. I've got a basic problem with many of the diets that are being promoted because of the simple fact that you sit down at the table and you eat and you're not satisfied. And if you're not satisfied, you are going to crave for things after your meal. And that is a big problem. These cravings leads to overeating, which you don't realize you're actually doing. But look at that plate of food. There is nothing processed on that plate. Everything was made here in my kitchen. And then we get to the next thing. I'm a guy that likes a lot to eat meat. I'm a big meat eater. And for me, I always say, meat and bread, that's a meal for a man. On this night, we decided that we're going to have some steak and chips. Steak and chips. When I peel the potatoes, I keep the potato skins and I deep fry them. And you can see there, so that's a nice snack. And here is the steak, flame grilled. As you can clearly see, it's medium rare. That's the way you should do it. On the right hand side is where the meat tapered down and thinner, and that is where my wife eats because she don't like rare meat. And this was finally the plate. I made a pepper sauce to go with it. And yes, there's people that will frown and say, yes, deep fried chips, that's not healthy. Listen, if you don't enjoy your meal, what is the use of it? You must sit in front of that plate of food and enjoy it. It must be satisfying to eat it. And you eat as much with your eyes as with your mouth. Big thing, portion control. And then we get to this plate. Here you can clearly see there was leftover from the steak. And I also made small, very thin omelets that has cheese in it and folded. So those things are very small. They're about the size of a taco, a potato chip crisp, samosa size. And the salad again, it is fresh guavas from the garden, tomatoes and some celery and then balsamic vinegar over it. Here is the ingredients that went into that. And here again, leftover steak, scrambled eggs, and a slice of toast. Now that is something that I do frequently. Instead of frying chips, I will take a slice of toast. And in this case, it was a toast with avocado on it. And then there's this plate of food. This was again a stew and a coleslaw. Now I'm going to tell you about the coleslaw. This is how I make it. I buy the packets from the supermarket with the shredded coleslaw in it, and there's some carrot with it. And then I add to it Greek yogurt and chutney and a chili sauce of some type. I also, many times I put nuts with it, and other times I will put raisins or cranberries, dried cranberries with it. And that is how I make the coleslaw that in many instances makes out about 50% of the volume on the plate. And on this night now, we South Africans call it a braai. It's a barbecue, and this is a barbecue of flatbread and buffalo steaks. Now, buffalo is game meat here, and you must be careful not to overcook those things because they will become as tough as leather if you overcook them. And this is the end of the barbecue of the buffalo and the flatbread on the grill, and this is what the meat turned out, medium rare. And the next meal, again, I baked some scones. The scones is done with unsifted flour, for a carpaccio that I sliced from impala fillet, and this is how it was finally eaten. The carpaccio on a scone with butter, not margarine, butter, and a side of a poached egg, of 2 poached eggs. Now, this may look like big meals to you, but I'm a guy that only eat 1 meal a day. That is my meal for the day. During the day, if I should get hungry and peckish, I would snack on either a boiled egg. I also drink a lot of water, about 1.5 liters at least a day. And for snacking, as I say, I will take that boiled egg, and that is okay, or I'll take a small slice of leftover meat. I try to focus on taking as little as possible carbohydrates. I don't eat rice. I never prepare rice. Well, I won't say never, but very seldom prepare rice. And that is it. So if you want to see more of the stuff that I cook here for us, please tell me in the comments. All I can say to you is that between me and my wife, we went through the whole pestilence circus I got bitten in July last year and was down for about 7 or 8 days. It was fairly severe, but I did the regime that is promoted on the alternative media, and that was it. And then in December, my wife got bitten, and obviously by then the thing has become and developed into nothing more than a cold. And so we're through it. I'm happy to say that mentally I made a decision from day one not to be overtaken by fear, because I think fear was the driving force. But that's the story. I'm an old coot. Don't pay too much attention to what I say. I just thought I'll make this skid mark and give you an indication of the things that I'm eating and how I look after my defense systems. And I must tell you, I am satisfied and I'm happy. And I look at the things that are coming out today and I feel sorry for those that chose a different route than mine. And now this is on a Friday weekend, and like that girl in the White House would say, it is Friday, you know, that day after Thursday and the day before Saturday. And on that note, have a great weekend, and don't forget, you must have a lekker braai.